We're very excited to have you with us. Mary equally is an advocate for the education and empowerment of women and girls. She's a graduate of International Studies and Diplomacy at the University of Benin in Nigeria. She's an ex-beauty queen and also the executive director at Timmy Royal, a registered fashion brand based in Nigeria. She's a project manager dedicated towards development projects for non-profit organizations. Due to her passion in promoting development in the society, she has carried out independent projects in line with the UN SDG goals to promote gender equality and fight against gender-based violence. She also organized free breast and cervical cancer screening for women, a spelling bee, wow, and debate competition for different schools in commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child. Mary acknowledges how pertinent it is to empower young people with knowledge and mentorship to help them make credible life decisions and achieve their full potential. Her personal mantra says, stay focused on your goals, irrespective of your challenges, because girl, you are limitless. I think I like this personal mantra. I'm going to just steal it. So stay focused on your goals, irrespective of your challenges, because girl, you are limitless. Sisters, please let's welcome our guests. Mary. Mary, you're welcome.
Hi, Selena. Thank you.
Hi. I think I've stolen your personal mantra. It's gonna be mine.
All right. You are
Yeah.
free to. You are
Okay,
free
yeah.
to. So
Permission
I
granted.
am
Thank
not.
you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. So I am not the guest, but I
Oh,
would be the one to take you through on what we do at the early, who we are at the
yes.
early, and then
Yes.
afterwards, we can now have our guests who will be taking us on child marriage, mental
Yes.
health problems, right?
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much. So thanks
You're
everyone for
welcome.
joining in, although we're quite few. So I had also invited our participants for the Women in Political Participation program, and we're hoping that they'll be able to join us today and also learn a thing or two. We're supposed to have some group sessions today, groupings today, to look at the challenges that we have in Africa. But I think as we progress on the session, when I see them, we'll continue with that conversation. So if you're excited to be here to listen once more on what child marriage is, on how it's affecting women and girls across Africa, please drop some emojis on the chat. I want to know that some persons are excited here because I'm sure that our guest today, who is also a YFL, a YFL from the Western African Caucus, would definitely do justice to that topic. Amazing. I see your emojis on the chat. Great. So very quickly, who are we at the early? So I know there are a lot of us on the WhatsApp group. Sometimes we're wondering what exactly is happening? What are we doing at the early? So what we are for is working basically to alleviate gender inequality and discrimination against women and girls across Africa. So if anyone asks you tomorrow anywhere and say, okay, what exactly is the alley all about? We are basically working to alleviate gender inequality and discrimination against women and girls in Africa. And this particular foundation or organization is being led by our amiable founder, Ms. Mary Izobo. who founded this organization, put together this vision to ensure that women and girls have equal opportunities across different spheres, right, in the society. So we are so grateful for her because she's our chief campaigner and champion for this particular organization. If there is anything that you'd also want to take out of this, is that we are a non-profit organization. All of the activities that we do are not geared towards making profits, but to empower women and girls and foster inclusivity in leadership roles, providing mentorship, education, and capacity development. And when I say to foster inclusivity in leadership, because amongst the associates and caucus leaders that we have, they are all young people. So we work basically with young people, and we ensure that these positions like the president of the caucus, the secretary, the vice president of the caucus, these are positions that are given to young people to be able to harness their leadership skills, right? So that's also a way where we foster inclusivity in leadership. We have a mentorship program that we run quickly from the different caucus groups. And also we have several programs that are geared towards championing education and also alleviating gender inequality. So as an organization, we have 3 different caucuses, right? So we have the West African caucus, which you belong to, and then which comprises of young women and girls from countries within the Western African region. And then we have the Southern African caucus, which comprises of young women and girls within the Southern African caucus. Namibia, South Africa, all of them, we have them in the Southern African caucus. And then we have the Cent caucus. Now, the Cent caucus comprises of, or means Central, Eastern, Northern, and Diaspora. So it's a combination of the Central Africa, Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, and Diaspora caucus meshed together to form the Cent. So what exactly do these people do? It makes it easier for us to reach out to these girls in these different regions because they belong to a cluster, right? They belong to a caucus, and they can easily address their issues, and it can be more relatable to them. That's why we have these caucuses, and also be able to give younger girls opportunity for leadership roles, right? So that's more like an overview of who we are at Diali and what we do. Now, like I mentioned, there are certain programs that we have at Diali. We have our leadership forum, which is the annual leadership forum that we do have every single year, either in October or November. The first physical forum we had was in South Africa, and then last year we had one in Kenya, and this year we're also looking at how to move to the Western African caucus by the grace of God, if the funding comes, right? We're hopeful to have our annual forum this year around the Western African caucus. So ladies, please be ready to turn up for the Western African caucus. And then aside the leadership forum, we have our mentorship program. So our mentorship program is structured in a way where you get to apply, and then you're being matched with a mentor who gets to mentor you for a period of time, look out for your goals, and all of those things. So it basically tracks your success and gives you advice on what to do, helps with CV review and all of those. That's what we do. And they have book readings as well. That's what you do in the mentorship program. We also have our back to school project. That particular project is aimed towards, empowering younger children or younger girls who do not have, the materials or who need materials to be in school. And also part of the back to school project, we have our menstrual health and hygiene program. We all know that this is May and this is the month for menstrual health and hygiene. So we've organized projects in line with Pardon Me Girl, teaching girls how to take care of their hygiene and also make reusable pads. So not just making these reusable pads, but we also teach them how to take care of those pads, to ensure that they don't get infection. Right. So these are some of the programs that we have at Diali, so that tomorrow, if you meet someone on the way and the person is saying, okay, Diali, what is Diali about? You can give a summary. You can also tell the person, these are the kind of programs that we do at Diali, and this is what we are all about. So I'm going to keep it here because if I want to keep talking about Diali, there are a whole lot of other programs. We have the Women's Political Participation Program, which, like I mentioned earlier, some of the participants are here. I see Lekun here and Mary Ann as well is here. Poseletso is here as well. So these are participants from our Women in Political Participation Program. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today. This is the Western African Caucus. We're having a session on child marriage and mental health protection. So I think that's more like an overview of it. I'm sure your guest is ready, who is also a member of the Western African Caucus, is ready to take you through on the session today. Thank you so much, and back to you, Selena.
All right, Mary, thank you. Thank you so much. That was so insightful. And girl, you are limitless. Yes. Okay. So we'll just move straight ahead to the main dish of the day. So as I said earlier, our topic for the day is child marriage and mental health, protecting childhood, promoting well-being. We have our wonderful facilitator here, Maimuna. So just read something a little about our wonderful facilitator. Maimuna is a passionate young leader from Niger, driven by commitment to justice, gender equality, and fair opportunity, especially for women and young people, so youth, basically. Born and raised in a country often misunderstood by the rest of the world, Maimuna grew up witnessing both the weight of inequality and the quiet resilience of her community. Now, as a second-year student at African Leadership Academy, Maimuna has built a leadership journey rooted in community engagement, compassion, and courage. She has led peace and social cohesion initiatives, served as president of Youth and Women Affairs Club, and represented Niger at regional leadership summits. She's worked directly with rural women through agricultural empowerment projects, ensuring they have not only tools but also ownership over their futures. She also serves as a member of the Niger Youth Parliament and the Francophone West Africa Youth Parliament, where she uses her voice to elevate the needs, dreams, and demands of her generation. Her journey as a member of her ALA student enterprise, AfroFem, has deepened her commitment to feminist leadership and community healing. AfroFem has not only shaped her voice, it has sharpened her vision for a world where African girls lead boldly and unapologetically. At her core, Maimuna stands for the possibility of a different future, one where leadership is not about power, but about purpose. Wow, sisters, please, this is our facilitator for the day. Maimuna, welcome, welcome. Wow.
Well, thank you so much for this amazing introduction. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can. We are so excited to have you here.
All right. I hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah.
As she mentioned, I'm Maimuna from Niger, and I'm really excited to go through this presentation because it is not only a presentation, but it's a topic that I really care about. And I do believe that if you are here with us today, it means that you also care about child marriage and its a consequences such as mental health. So I'm looking forward to have this conversation with you today.
Ye-
So I don't know if I can start or
Yes, yes, you can start.
so. All right, let me just share my screen and can go through the slide. First off, uh, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right. So today's topic is child marriage and mental health, protecting childhood, promoting well-being, with a special focus on girls, like especially African girls. So before starting, I would like to ask people to please write something like when they hear child marriage, what is the first word that comes to their mind? You can just write it in the chat so then we can post. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much for this amazing reflection. Let's start with what is child marriage? Child marriage, according to UNICEF refer to any formal marriage or informal union where at least one of the individual is under the age of 18. Um, this widespread practice is a serious violation of human rights as it robs children, especially girls, of their right to a full childhood. It often interrupts their education, endanger their health, and limit their freedom to shape their own future. Each year, an estimated of 12 million of girls are married before they turn 18, according to Girls Not Brides, a statistic that highlights the urgent need to address this issue on a global scale. So, child marriage is a really, really big challenges that most of the girls, especially in Africa, are facing. But then it's something that is still ignored, like especially in the African context. This is a data, a UNICEF data that show that Africa, especially West and Central Africa, has the highest percentage of child marriage, and then it's Eastern and Southern Africa has 32% of child marriage. South Asia has 20%, and Latin America and Caribbean has 21% of child marriage. So what is the impact of child marriage on the mental health? Child marriage has several consequences on the mental health. But what is mental health? According to WHO, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to the community, encompassing our emotional, psychological, and social equilibrium. However, child marriage severely undermines this fundamental state of well-being as it directly exposes girls to an increased risk of developing severe mental health disorder, including pervasive depression, anxiety, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is stemming from forced responsibilities and increased vulnerability to violence. This practice also leads to profound social isolation, a creeping loss of autonomy and significant damage to self-esteem. And with these immediate psychological tools, like it often lead to compounded factor like poverty and lack of education, ultimately resulting in chronic mental health issues that can persist throughout adulthood and even have intergenerational consequences on the children's well-being. So it means that child marriage doesn't only affect people who got married early, but it can also have a large consequences on their future children. Child marriage is a crisis of well-being. Why? Because it causes overwhelming distress and depression. Girls who are married as children experience significantly higher rates of emotional distress and depression compared to those who marry as adults. They carry a heavy premature emotional burden. They also face profound isolation and loss of control, social isolation, loss of autonomy and agency. Uh, Childbirths are often cut off from friends, school, and vital support network, leading to deep loneliness, loneliness, exclusion, and the lack of emotional support. They typically have little to not say over their own lives, including their bodies, their daily activities, or future aspiration, which causes profound feelings of powerless and several damages their self-esteem and sense of worth. And we also have the high risk of severe disorder. Child marriage dramatically increases the likelihood of serious mental health condition such as anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, the experiences of sexual activities, domestic violence, or forced responsibilities often lead to lasting trauma symptom, nightmares, and flashback. And lastly, we have the self-harm and suicidal thoughts. There is a higher likelihood of self-harm and even suicidal tendencies among childbirths who may feel desperate, trapped, or hopeless in their situation. Those are just some consequences among many. There are so many consequences that child marriage can have, especially on the mental health. So why the impact is so severe? The mental health impacts of child marriage are not isolated. They are made much worse by a complex web of interconnected disadvantages and vulnerabilities that amplify a girl's suffering. Why am I saying that? So those are basically the factors that intensify the harm. Age at marriage. The younger a girl is married, the more severe the mental health consequences is. Girl married at very young age, example 12, 14, 15, like as long as it's under 18, experience significantly worse psychological and emotional outcome. And we also have the intimate partner violence. So because she doesn't have any notion about sexual activities, those childbred are at greater risk of experiencing domestic violence due to power imbalances in early marriage. This abuse, whether physical, emotional, or sexual, can cause deep psychological harm, constant fear, and isolation that often lead to multiple consequences on the mental health, and long-term trauma, leaving girls without the safety or support they need to heal. We also have the lack of education, being pulled up out of school, isolate girls further from peers, supportive teachers, and vital social networks. This loss of education remove a key protective factor, limit their ability to cope, and restrict future opportunities, leading to feelings of hopelessness, conflict, and crisis setting in regions affected by conflict. For example, in West Africa, or like natural disaster or humanitarian crisis. For example, in Congo, DRC, child marriage often increases as a perceived survival strategy. This context of insecurity and displacement adds immense psychological burden, exacerbating mental health vulnerability. Another factor that can intensify the harm is poverty and economic hardship. Extreme poverty can trap girls in difficult or abusive marriage, making it nearly impossible for them to escape or seek help. This economic vulnerability directly intensifies psychological distress. And we also have the long-term and intergenerational harm. So those harms, those consequences on the mental health is not only for the short time, it is not only like for a short time, but it can follow the person who got married early, like for her entire life. The mental health consequences of child marriage are not temporary. They cast a long, persistent shadow affecting women throughout their lives and even extending to future generations. So, what are the intergenerational harm consequences? We have chronic mental health issues, which is basically childbred are at a higher risk of suffering from chronic, long-lasting anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorder. That can persist well into their adult lives, impacting their overall quality of life and daily functioning. We also have the impact on motherhood and children. The poor mental health of a child bred, who often becomes a mother very young, can negatively affect her children's well-being and development. This can lead to a cycle of vulnerability, poor health outcome, and limited opportunities that is passed down through families. We have reduced life opportunities because the girl has been pulled out school, like she has been forced to get married. It means that it is going to be difficult for her to see to get better opportunities, maybe economic empowerment or kind of something like this. So it basically impaired mental health severely, hinder a woman's ability to pursue further education, gain economic independence, we also have the perpetuating disadvantages. The ongoing mental health burden can contribute to a limited progress, affecting not just the individual but entire families and communities. for generation to come. That has been settled to fight against child marriage. We have awareness campaign, like many awareness campaign. People are doing many awareness campaign to fight against child marriage. Communities are becoming more informed about the danger of child marriage, thanks to education